Hey, we are back, and you know what we're going to talk about today?
Oh, let me guess.
Come on.
Does it start with F and
The F word?
finish in P? Is it no? What is Is
Gee,
it finish in
F and P? Be careful here. Friendship. Yeah, how important it is. And I actually want to sort of start out by saying how lucky I am. I could get emotional.
Aww.
Having you as a friend, and a friend of over 40 years, and I do feel like the luckiest person in the world.
Oh, stop it.
No, it's true.
I'm such a bitch
it's true.
sometimes.
She's a bit of a bitch.
No,
but she's mushy underneath.
Yeah, I'm a total musha-wash. Yeah. Look, friendship is what does it mean to me? I think both of us have gone through divorces, and I think, to be honest with you,
hallelujah,
without girlfriends, I don't think I could have survived.
Wow.
Girlfriend was just this beautiful river of love, fun, and joy, and knowing they've got your back, and because you want to have some downtime. I spent 3 years overcoming a 37-year marriage, and 3 years of healing. But I knew you'd actually have to look at me, Nicola. And you knew if I said those word I can't stand, I'm fine. If I said that, you'd write, I'm coming over this afternoon with a champagne. Or you just knew energetically. And many girlfriends were just at the end of the line saying, how are you? You okay? That's all you need, just someone checking in. Girlfriends, as you get older, you realise, and as when my mother's best friend was passing away, who was around her bed? All her girlfriends. Yeah. And I was I was lucky enough to be in that room, and I watched it. Girlfriends are everything. So on that note,
you know what, that is true. I've got to say my mum was exactly the same with her circle of friends. And friendship, it's always been important. I've always loved having friends from a little girl all the way through, but it is even more important, I think, as we age. And we've lost parents. You go through different things as we age, and having that support system and having someone who you can cry on, or someone you can laugh, and we certainly laugh.
We laugh.
So I hope all our listeners now, I'm sure you've got sometimes you only need one friend, but we've brought that up because we have got there's a couple here. I don't really call them a couple, but they're
asleep now.
Let me introduce you to our favourite 40 girls, those two girls. And so this is really going to be a fun one because Lise and Sarah, we met them last December in the line, waiting to meet Queen of all queens, Oprah Winfrey, in Brisbane. And it was just so much great fun chatting to you both. Lise and Sarah, often known as those two girls from their radio days, they've become successful podcasters, authors, MCs, and creators of Disco Club. And they've built a thriving community and backed themselves, made big shifts, and built something really special together. They're also mums, juggling family life, careers, navigating their 40s with all the change, chaos and reinvention that comes with it. So we're thrilled to have these brizzy spunkettes at our back fence to hear their story, have a laugh, and let's get to the fun stuff, friendship, life and everything in between. Welcome, ladies, to our back fence.
Thank you. We're excited to be here. It's been a long time trying to orchestrate this chat, but we made it 5 months after the meeting. We're here.
And where did we meet, I might add?
We met in the lineup to see Oprah.
How was that? How did you find Oprah?
Sarah actually bought the tickets on our company credit card without telling me until she'd done
I knew there was that. I knew there was something in that.
And they weren't cheap, were they?
Yeah. I initially was like, Sarah, that's way too much money. Like, how are we going to write this off on tax? Like, it's just not doable. But then I realised it was Oprah. We've been watching her since we were kids, young women, the work. So we just had to be there in that room, and it was just a fabulous night.
Well, we had to throw an airfare in too. So when I put that on the company credit card, was I in trouble?
She did. This one actually had food poisoning, didn't you?
I did.
And to cure that, our flight got delayed.
I forgot.
I got this one. She was going, shopping, and so we're in the Chanel one, and she, put this little cream. I think she was a bit delirious. And I said, she goes, how does it look? I said, you look 10 years younger. You look fabulous. So she bought it, and it ended up, I think you spent about
$1,000 at the airport. I'm not kidding.
On skincare.
For a moisturiser.
what have I just done?
Like,
I was going, oh, you look
but
good.
I was so good. But Nicola's Mrs. Positive, get it. You look beautiful. Good. Where I'll go, oh no, it's awful. Get it off. Get something else, whatever, cheaper. But anyway, it was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah,
well,
we
lucky the
love
universe and that we met you guys there. And look, we've been following you for ages. But tell us a little bit about
How
you
did you
two.
meet?
Yeah, how did you groovers meet?
Well, we have a really cringeworthy story that we're very proud of. We met online. We met online.
What?
That's modern.
I know. Back
Isn't
in
it?
2014. Actually, no, it was 2013. I'm sorry. We started talking online. We were both pregnant with our second children. They're actually ended up being born 2 days apart, and we met in the flesh when they were 4 months old. So we met in person in 2014. This was in the heady days of everyone having blogs. And Lise and I both had individual blogs while we were on maternity leave from our day jobs. And we both developed a little bit of a following, and we had mutual friends saying, Sarah, do you follow Lise Carlaw? And people saying to Lise, do you follow Sarah Wills? And that's kind of how it started. And Lise rocked up on my doorstep. As I said, the babies were 4 months old, and we just talked, I think, that first night for about 5 hours until we had to go home and feed the babies. And we have never really stopped talking since then.
Oh,
wow, that's beautiful.
What were your blogs about? Like, what were you sort of into?
It was really just about, at that stage, motherhood and musings on that time in our lives. We were 33, I think, then. So it was just, very similar to what we do with our podcast. It was just talking about or writing about things that we thought were funny and relatable to women our age. That's it.
And that's essential when you're in the thick of having a baby. I mean, we were very close with my
pregnant together, actually. Talk about going through stuff.
Just you're more emotional and the milk dripping. You don't know what the hell you're doing. And that's why something like a blog, anything with humor, like when we find we laugh, and when I listen to you guys and you laugh, it's sort of like just everything unwinds. Everyone just goes, with this crazy world we're in today, more laughter, more fun. It's everything to me.
I agree. I think sometimes we take things, and it's only naturally, a bit too seriously sometimes, where you get caught up in your head.
Yeah.
And then when you have sort of someone, you just might do something really stupid. And I think the older we get, the sillier we get, really. And, we're sort of big fans of that. But so from that, then you started, and then what did you just start a podcast then, or tell us
radio,
with the radio, or how did you
then there's an even cringier story that comes in 4 months later, and I'll let Lise
bring on the cringe.
I think when I met Sarah, it was very clear right away that we had a real shared sense of humor, a shared sensibility, like we liked the same things. And I said to her one day, I'm like, I think I've just had a daydream, and we're both holding microphones. And what do you think about that? Totally delusional, probably sleep deprived, all of the above. But it came to me really clearly, and I just said, I reckon we should do something. And Sarah was just like, yep, sounds great. Let's do that. Now, we had no idea what that was. We were just
but it was a microphone.
Yeah, there was something in it. And because we'd had a shared professional background, our professional background sort of meshed really well. We'd both done journalism. We both had a sense for the landscape, I think you could say. And we just put ourselves out as a female MC duo. That was the initial step. We were like, I reckon we can do this. We've got a shared audience. We can build on that. And I think the first thing we emceed was the finale of
The Bachelor.
The Bachelor, one of the big seasons, when everyone was watching The Bachelor at the same time on free-to-air TV. And we knew strategically that would probably be a good gig to get, because it was in conjunction with Channel 10, even though it was absolutely not Channel 10 who hired us as the MCs. It still looked like a polished and it looked like a professional production in terms of a live event. And we sold that event out just to our audience, I suppose. And then word of mouth got out and we were being booked as MCs a lot in Brisbane. That was Brisbane.
And that was mostly doing MC events for other people. And then Lise and I got sick of doing the same style of event for women. There were always like scones and a charity element, and you know, we were like, God
how's
damn,
the
like,
champagne?
yeah, like if we're going to go out to an event and go to the trouble of hiring a babysitter and making that effort, then let's create an event that we want to go to. So then we started putting on our own events, panel events in Brisbane. And we just kind of had the confidence to go and ask sponsors for money, which meant that we could fly up people like Mia Friedman and Zoe Foster Blake, and who else did we have? A whole host of other amazing women. And those events would sell out. And I suppose that's where we started getting noticed. And within a year, we were tapped on the shoulder just randomly by the head of the Hit Network, who said, how would you both feel about a radio show? And we said, really good.
Smart.
Like it was quite amazing, really. We walked into a metropolitan weekend breakfast show on then B105 or now B105 in Brisbane. And then the following year, they created a role for us, National Early Breakfast with those two girls that was live around the country from 5 till 6 a.m. And we did that for 4 years. Then we added a Gold Coast breakfast show on top of that. But that show was the straw that kind of broke the sleep-deprived camel's back. And we left radio.
The hump fell off.
Yeah, and then decided to become independent podcasters. And that's kind of been the ridiculous, unexpected
evolution
of Lise and I.
So along the way, like with this trajectory, somehow kids fit into this. How did you manage all that?
With great difficulty.
And how many do you have each?
I have two sons.
Yeah.
So my eldest turns 17 in September. The little one's 12 and a half. And Sarah has two daughters, 15 and 12 and a half. So we're very much in the same stage of life, which is really, well, it's just super helpful in our friendship. I don't think it would overly affect our friendship if we weren't, but my God, we're living the same life, really. We're very much aligned with you know, what we're going through personally, professionally, what have you. How did we manage it all? When we were doing breakfast radio, the children were young, so it actually was doable because they'd go to bed early and we'd go to bed early. As the children got a little bit older and that bedtime was pushed out, that's when we really started to struggle, because our alarm clock for our live early breakfast show was 2:45 a.m. It was because of daylight savings, because we're based in Queensland. We sort of got the raw end of the deal there. So once the kids were pushing out their bedtimes, it became very, very challenging, and it did affect our relationships, our well-being, our quality of life. And that's when we really started to interrogate, is this what we want? Is this what we want to do? Because is it worth it? Because we love bouncing off each other live. There's something about live radio, the way we were doing it, which was just so cup filling, and we loved the silliness of it so much. But when it starts affecting every aspect of your life, you have to reassess. And thankfully, as always, we were on the same page. It wasn't one of us saying, I want to stay in this, you know, like I'm digging my heels in. I don't want to leave. Like we were both like, oh, thank God. How can we get out of this?
It's true.
And
passion.
And
how do we take this and move into the next chapter? So that was super lucky that we've both always
Was that
been.
nannies? What intervened to
Oh, we
resolve
always,
that?
yeah, we had to have all of that.
Yeah.
And I guess supporting husbands as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes and yes.
Wait a minute. Is
Well,
there a
well,
yes,
because
yes,
my-
or a yes,
Well,
no?
my
Or a
husband
no,
was
no,
away
yes?
a lot of the time, so supporting
Yeah.
in spirit. But because he's a farmer with farms in North
Right.
Queensland and was sort of collectively away 6 or 7 months of the year when the kids were little, it really was. I had nannies who would sleep over, and I would be, when you're just in those early childhood years where you're just calling in favors from relatives, and you can never pay them back. Not that they ask to be paid back, but there's a guilt of constantly relying on other people
That's
in your
true.
life so that you can work and
I think
it was hard.
nannies sounds really glamorous, but let's be clear.
It does.
The
But
types of nannies we had were we'd open the door to them at 2 a.m. They'd come in their pajamas. Yes, there'd be a room downstairs for them to sleep until the kids woke up.
Cornflakes
But it wasn't a live-in nanny.
No.
It wasn't a hoity-toity, they've got a nanny. No, it was just someone
Mrs.
to wake
Doubtfire.
up. Someone to wake up with
Spot
the
on.
children. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
It's funny, I love hearing this story. You know why? I don't think women are honoured enough, working women with children. When I had my first child, I was hosting a live television program, and 5 days a week. And of course, when I had the baby, I came back after the Christmas break, didn't I? And I had to breastfeed, didn't I? And we'd gone to 1 live, 2 pre-record, 1 live, 1 pre-record, right? So I would have the baby breastfeed with a blankie, talk to the guests before going to air live or with the first show, and it worked. Everyone was fine. Oh no, the all male body that was the head of this station wouldn't accept the breastfeeding while I'm interviewing before we went to air all the guests, right? So I just got in the car and drove out of town.
Yeah,
I
that
just
was
went,
the end.
Sorry, see ya, bye. I just drove out of town. And I thought, when all the way is an hour and a half, 2 hour trip home, I went, women as mothers and working, it's never friggin' easy.
No, and thank goodness conditions
Never.
have changed, though, Di. Like that now wouldn't be acceptable.
No,
'cause
it
that
wouldn't be,
because that's a long
correct.
time ago.
True.
And but that's a
But
great
it's-
example of it, isn't it? I was
Yeah.
with the airlines, and so I flew away a lot as well. And but when you're maternity leave and things like that, you're unpaid, and it's for so much of it was like whereas things now have changed so
Thank
much and
God.
conditions have changed as the times go on. But that's a big brave move. Also, I'm
is.
guessing financially for you girls that you've had this a big salary of being on the radio, and then to actually go it on your own. Was that sort of like a challenge for you too?
Yeah, it was. And I suppose the difference between Lise and me is, to my detriment, I'm sometimes too glass half full. And
Right.
Lise, to her detriment, is sometimes glass half empty. But in this case, Lise was right, because you're right, we were leaving a 6-figure salary, known income. And I was very much like, mate, once people know we're available and not connected to a network, the door will not stop knocking. We'll have a couple of months of it being low key, but then whoomp, we will be back flying high. And the door wasn't knocking. And Lise, thank God for Lise, she was like, we have to hustle, hustle, hustle. And the mistake that we'd made was, once we got into radio, we really just rested on our laurels there. We were like, oh my God, we've been hustling for years with events and MC gigs, and now we can just sit and take in money. But once that was gone, we had nothing to fall back on. We hadn't been doing events, we hadn't been doing MC gigs. And so it was a real slap in the face to get back into that hustle culture.
Yeah, and it's not that you were stupidly optimistic.
It's naive.
It's beautiful to be optimistic. I think the glass half empty thing for me just comes from.
Well, she's much more of a realist, which I need.
We're like that.
We're like that. It's a
Yeah.
good balance.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I'm like Sarah.
I think it just
You're
comes.
like Sarah.
I'm like Sarah,
I'm
yeah.
like Lise.
I'm like, this will work out. We can do that.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I
Woo.
go, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well,
Come
I
on.
just think everyone has got to, and I think in our business
Yin and
story,
yang.
it's always been the fact that nobody's coming to save you. You've got to do the work. And even though it was great in radio while it lasted, then we were back having to do everything on our own. And nobody's just going to hand you the ultimate contract, the ultimate gig, the high-paying campaign. We had to go back to the drawing board, and that's very hard for your ego to deal with sometimes. But I think it's a great exercise in just like, we're back in the weeds, we're back in the dirt, and that's where we get our best ideas from, really.
And you know what? I really admire you, and I think they're really good tips and lessons for so many people, because I
Never
think
give up.
with anything, it is hard work to get to, and anything for people who are successful, it is through hard work. Some people might have a lucky break for a period of time, but it's not going to last you forever. So having the drive and having sort of like and keeping on going and doing the stuff you don't want to do, and well done for you guys.
I think the image, I can't stop thinking, Lise, with the image you had of the microphone. You didn't know what that was or how. And I think that's like this manifesting driving force that was sort of this beautiful river running through all the way through, and believing, and your passion, of course. And hence the podcast coming to the fore. It's that image. I'll never forget that with the microphone.
Yeah, I don't know where
remarkable.
it came from. I've never had daydreams before. I'm not overly a spiritual person
yet.
Like, not overly. I wasn't, and yet it was very clear that Sarah and I would do that together.
Wow. And tell us about with the podcast, because, you're very successful. We love it. And you've also got the subscription gold as well. But did you start off, was it another name? Was it the 40 first of all?
Yeah, we started off when we left radio, we were 39 turning 40. And we both really think that is a real crossroads in a woman's life, where suddenly you start to wake up and maybe you've had kids and they're getting a bit older, or your career's kind of going to another level, or you're not loving it. Maybe your relationship, you're looking at it in a different way. And I think we were hearing all these stories of women ahead of us in their 40s, and it just sounded like such a roller coaster decade. And we ourselves were looking at changing careers, and we kind of again thought we're really interested in having conversations with women in their 40s, 50s and beyond, and garnering their life lessons.
We're in the
wisdom.
beyond section, Nicola.
We're
in the beyond.
We started, I was in my 50s. And now I've rocked over to the 60s, so I've joined the club.
Yes, right. And so
as Kathy said, it's Sixties, so it's all ahead of you girls.
Yeah, and so we were interviewing, well-known Australian women, and we also had just interesting civilians with great stories to share. And that went really well. We wrote a book out of that. We got a publishing deal. And again, we thought, oh, my God, we're authors. This podcast is going so well. But that podcast, because we try and do everything really well, and we'll pay everyone before we pay ourselves well.
Yes.
It cost us so much money to do it. And after a couple of years, we said, you know what, it's not viable for us to do 40 in this way. And so we will put, and you know what it's like, when ladies, the time you put into researching your interview subjects, and it's hours and hours of work for something to sound really natural and insightful. And so we pulled the pin on 40 and decided to just start Lise and Sarah, just the two of us chatting about things that we liked, things that we thought were funny or interesting, or that other women would be talking about. And again, that was still a very steep road because we were independent. There was a time there when we were paying ourselves $1,000 a month. And again, coming off, a big radio salary. And we had people around us saying, what about if you just went back to your day jobs? Like, it's hard, isn't it? What about if you just... And the two of us were still just so fervent that, no, we have more to do here. We just need to give it time. But I mean, behind the scenes, like, Lise was trying to wrangle us a job as copywriters with an agency.
Wow. I love these stories.
We were looking at writing PR releases as like ghost writers just so we could have income coming into the company. So there have been some really hard down times, but we've always had each other to bolster and give the reality checks needed.
That's a great point.
Isn't it?
You
It's a
just
really
made
good
then.
point.
That's
Yes.
a really, because
Isn't
with
it?
Nicola, I'll go, oh, something's happened, and I'll ring her, and she'll know straight away by the tone of my voice, and she'll just die. It'll die down a bit, or she'll damp it down a bit, and I'll go, oh, you're right, a different perspective. And that's the beautiful thing about watching you two bounce off each other, and how I feel about us. Coming back to friendship,
Respect as well,
like,
isn't it?
What is friendship to you guys? Like, or tell us about how do you maintain a friendship? A lot of girls listening right now go, yeah, I've got girlfriends, but working, like having a girlfriend and working, it can be under very intense environments. How do you overcome the intensity and maintain that wonderful friendship?
I think from the get-go, it was really obvious that our friendship was being commercialized, right? We were making money off how close our friendship is. So I think it was really important for us, and we knew instinctively, we didn't have to dig deep for this one, but we, from the get-go, were like, it's friendship first. The business stuff is, yes, it's all woven in. It's all very messy and muddy and linked in. The time that we spent together is, I mean, what, like 90% work, 10%. Well, how would you even define it? Can we even define it?
No, I don't.
It doesn't even feel like that. Like when we're working, it just feels like I'm working with my best friend. We're working freaking hard. There's a lot of pressure sometimes, and yes, there's many elements of our business where we divide and conquer, and we go to where our strengths naturally lie, and that's just fallen into place quite effortlessly, really. But for the most part, all the fun stuff, the ideas, the creativity, what makes us laugh, what drives our tone, the content that we cover, the words that we write, all that fun stuff, that doesn't feel like work to us, and we get to do it together.
And I think we have a very clear delineation in our minds of what is work and what isn't. So if we're in the podcast and we're doing a break, for instance, and I say, stop, do it again, we can make it tighter, what have you, that's never taken as like a personal criticism.
No,
that is this is what's best for the podcast. We can do this together. So there's a real what's the
respect?
Word? Yeah, there is respect. Yeah.
At the end of the day,
we get that when we do something. Like, no, do it again. Like we do our little videos. Sometimes
and Nicola might look at me because the look, with girlfriends, like you two will look at each other. It's just a look. You don't even know words. It's just a look, and you're like,
and you can't fake a friendship, can you? Like you can't.
I'll kick her under the table.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting. So tell us a bit about with you two, sort of like, is there one that you're sort of saying that sort of like is sort of more, I don't know, tougher than the other or stricter? Have you ever how do you resolve a fight? Have you ever had any big blowouts at some stage?
Yeah, we have, but it's never been, I mean, everything's always resolved. And mostly it's just been pressure cooker situations. It's not been because we fundamentally disagree on something and it's shaking us to the core. The tiffs we've had have been high situations, and humans don't operate at their best in high pressure situations,
True.
And when you've got, I think for people who are lucky enough to have sisters, I think there's a level of female friendship that actually gets to the almost equivalent of a sister level, where you can have a blue with your sister and that it's resolved in like 20 minutes. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
ours are like, where
totally.
I can't even remember like what they.
It's all it's communication.
Yeah, sometimes it's been if there's like a flurry of things going by and it's business and it's text, and then I'll read tone into something, and then you might read tone into something, and then before you know it, we're like, what are we good? What did you mean by that?
But it's
Yes.
rare.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's
rare.
interesting.
I think it's happened
do you
3
have
times
do you have
in 12 years.
sisters?
We both have sisters, yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of 5 sisters.
5.
And Nicola,
I don't have any sisters.
they call her the 6th sister. So
And
I
they're
get
all they're
everything
all
you just
gorgeous.
said made so much sense to me.
Yeah, I think there's an
Because-
intrinsic
Yes.
female understanding. And I also
Yes.
think we read each other really well. Don't you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's
I think
imperative.
I know. I
Yeah.
can tell if Lise is a bit tired or a bit off and
Yes.
just, needs to decompress.
like-
Not from me, but just from
Yes.
work or whatever
No.
the situation is.
And it's
Yeah.
also, it's just like it's what you were saying earlier about the women, your mother's friendship group around
Yes.
one of their friends' deathbeds. I think it's one of the greatest relationships of our lives. These are our life partners. If I look, I mean, I've been married to my husband Dane for 17 years. Of course, it's my primary relationship.
What?
But
What?
well,
You're
wait,
in
I was
deep
gonna say,
shit.
she's not
Watch
far
out.
behind. She's not far behind. Like in terms of, I
I
think we were
get it.
looking at something on Instagram, something along the lines of, if you lost your memory completely, if something happened and you lost your memory, who would you call to tell you who you are? Like if someone had to
Ooh.
explain to you, who are you?
Yeah.
Because you can't remember. Who would you call? And look,
Wow.
I think I would call Sarah. I mean, my husband knows me very, very well.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the day-to-day, the I don't know, the energy, the tone, that's it's just different. It's not better or lesser than your marital relationship.
It is better.
But it's crucial.
I love
And I-
Sarah.
and
I
I
know.
would also
Straight for the
say,
kill.
It is.
Country girl.
just
Yeah.
talking about deathbed stuff, and I don't think have I
Mm.
told you this? I certainly haven't said it.
Well, I know I'm your emergency
But-
contact.
Oh,
Did she
because
come back from the dead?
I actually
Like,
have thought to
wow.
myself, I need to die before Lise does. Because I can't imagine,
Sarah, it's so
I
dark.
can't imagine living and not having Lise at the end of the fight.
Well, you won't have to because I'll be haunting you.
Yeah, she
I'm
will.
going
She
first.
will. Oh, I
That's
love
so
that.
good.
That is,
I'll be there in spirit.
that's so good. Do your
Oh,
do your
God.
husbands ever get a
So
little
good.
bit jelly
I
of
was
the
thinking
friendship?
that.
Like because you're so
Yeah.
close. Do they
No.
ever go? Well, hang on, you no.
They're
Do
introverts.
they get on?
Or are
too?
they friends?
Yeah.
Do they
No,
hang
because
out?
Sarah's husband
Country.
works away a lot. So we live on opposite ends of town. So yeah, have the families
Right.
gotten together.
yeah, they get along when they see
They
each
get
other,
along.
but it's not
Yes.
often.
But
No.
it's not
You
often.
don't
No, I
share a
get
back
that.
fence like we actually share a back fence.
That's the
No.
other thing.
Go figure
Nicola, I
that.
can wave to Nicola.
I know.
From the house, and then we spend all
hear
this
her
time
the
together.
pop of the champagne cork, and they go, "Hang on,"
and usually my
you didn't
music's
invite
too
me.
loud.
So,
something like-
so no, I'll come over. It's good
Okay,
fun.
I want to unpack 60s versus the 40s. Yeah, baby. What has the 40 been in your 40s mean to you both?
I would say it's been a lot of building. We've had a big, and we're late bloomers in that way. For the most part, people are building careers, family in their 30s, which we absolutely built our families in our 30s. But we've had a massive growth in our company since we turned 40. Which has been so incredibly exciting. It's been a lot of work, very rewarding work. So when I think of this, because I'm 46, so when I think of the first half of my 40s, I think build. It's been big.
It's a great word.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's certainly been the decade with the most curveballs. And I think it's been amazing for that reason. Like if you could have told us at 40, when we were just finishing up in radio, that in 5 years we would have created an event where Mushroom Group was the partner, where it was Australia's largest event series for women.
And that we were dancing around the
dancers.
You would have gone, sure.
And let's talk about
so
that.
I do think
Disco
that
Club.
the 40s are living up to everything that I heard, which was that they are a roller coaster. And I feel like we're on that.
Yeah,
I love that. What about, so now we're going to do 60s.
The 60s, well, I was thinking too, when you compare it to, if I go with the 40s and I was flying with the airlines and raising children and doing all that, you're so in the thick of things, two kids, two dogs flying around the world internationally, and life is busy and great fun, but boy, it's like you don't stop. And, but,
what's the 60s like for you, Nicola?
60s, but well, I'm just
She's only early,
I'm just getting
60s.
used to it, but I got to say every decade, without sounding corny, I've actually enjoyed more and more for different reasons. And like from the 30s to the 40s, I loved it. 50s was a surprise, and that was a huge shift for me because I guess I got a divorce mid-50s after a 25-year marriage, a whole new thing there, and then to actually be single and then to date again. So that's the other thing too. It's really when you've had long relationships and you think it's going to last forever, is a huge thing, and to start again. And then I had a 4-year relationship, and and then when that ended, it's kind of like starting again and again. And then with the podcast, so now 60s, I love 62 because I feel like I'm into it now. Turning 60 was a bit like, oh wow. I remember going to my dad's birthday party when he was 60, thinking, oh my God, Dad's so old. And
people
now
were old in their 60s.
Yeah, and I'm just starting out. So 60s now, I'm going, you know what, this decade, and so I'm sharing it with girlfriends and family, and that it's so joyous, and a lot of the pressure's off. Because, you've done a lot of things beforehand. If things don't really work out, well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you keep on trying your best. But I think it honestly gets better and better. And we're on the bandwagon, especially for women being vocal, being out there, of celebrating aging. And just
it's a great period.
What about you, Di?
Oh, no, it's just you gain more wisdom. I've never had wisdom. I don't know what that is. Because I've always been a party girl out there, big family syndrome. And I think, wisdom and wrinkles, chin hairs, love it all. Bring it on.
Chin hairs.
Bring it on. I used to get so paranoid seeing an old woman with a long black hair. I would freak out. And now I'm like, bring it all on, because guess what? I don't care anymore. I care about my children, my extended family, my friends. I care about the world, all of that. I care about nature, all of that. But ultimately, I don't give a shit. I dance in the chemist when I hear music.
Yeah, that's what they say, the
out of control
no
dancing.
F era,
Don't care.
Is the 50s.
I actually don't care.
And it gets better because you just don't.
I feel more free-spirited, and I feel intensely happy and joyful, and because it's me, myself, and I.
That's exciting.
And I know that sounds so, but years ago they used to be selfish on thinking of yourself, and now you can. Yeah. And it's actually very rewarding. Aging is a gift.
But also we've got to acknowledge
So I just thought I'd throw that back at you guys. That's ahead of you, and it's another great period and phase that you will go through. It's something to look forward to, not because a lot of women, sure, there's menopause that comes into play, but a lot of women don't focus on that enough, I find. They get hooked into I'm aging syndrome. And that is dangerous because it pulls you down the sinkhole. It's not about that. It's about a celebration of the life you've led up to now. And go out there and scream to the rooftops. Who cares what anyone thinks anymore? It doesn't matter.
And you know what? It's good. It's sort of like, if not now, when? So let's just do it. JFD, let's do it. But also acknowledging when you're in your 40s, it's full on because, you've got your children living at home. Whereas, actually, they do bounce back. I've just had my daughter back with me for a while. It's been really fun having, her in my 30s. It's so much fun. And my son. But you don't have those pressures.
No.
Because, just responsible and going to the school and doing all that, which is brilliant and the most important thing, but you have more time for yourself.
But can we ask how, as women who've been there, because Lise and I, we've just been talking about this recently, how our eldest, how our kids are teenagers, and we can see that we're coming to the end of that phase of parenting. And we know women, it really hits women in different ways. What advice would you give us in
It's
looking down that barrel?
You go first. You go first.
Embrace the emotion, because I was hysterical for weeks, I remember. But there's only one word that keeps surfacing, and I say it with love because I'm just live for my children, is freedom. Ultimately, once you come through the emotional roller coaster, which it is, particularly more so for women, I do believe that, you're freer. So try, when you're in the thick of that, to keep that as the umbrella over those feelings, is freedom. They'll always be there. I've got a little thing my mum gave me. It's when you let go of your children, they walk out the door. Oh, it's making me feel emotional saying it. But your heart will always be connected, no matter what.
And
that doesn't change.
I agree, Di. It is. You have to let
Remember
them go,
that.
and it is. You've got to acknowledge it is tough. Like it is tough, but it's also exciting. Like I remember driving my daughter to Bathurst when she was at uni and going, "Oh my gosh, she's having so much fun." And then my son, but then also
it's empty.
I think another tip for some women as well is when my youngest, my baby, which was my boy, left, and for me, my marriage was coming to an end, and I was unhappy. I found a new activity for myself, and I had so many friends. I was still flying, but something else to kind of replace that. And that's when I started by myself, and I joined Coast Trek and did some hiking and trekking.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes
it's a great advice.
Do something that you didn't have the time to do, and try something new. And then that's led to us actually being MCs for Coast Trek and other things, and friendships along the way. So I think that's a good thing. And it's, so it's like babies, you want them to stay little forever. It's just another stage, but then it's so much fun.
It's all these stages
and
of
50s
life.
is fun, and hopefully you'll have successful marriages. But when mine ended as my 50s, it was great fun being
I want to
single
talk
again.
about wasabi peas.
Yeah.
Because guess
Who
what?
likes them?
I love them too.
Oh, aren't they the best?
So tell me about, because I love watching that on Insta. I do giggle.
Yeah.
Tell me about the rice in the sock. I'm going to start doing it. Did you set the heat pack?
Yeah.
Put rice in a sock. Oh, well, tell me how that all came about. I love all these
You
ideas.
do great tips.
And laugh till I cry.
Are they great tips? Look, I don't
They
think
are so good tips.
I think
She likes lollies. You like snakes.
Oh my guilty pleasure.
I don't think anything we talk about is overly serious, and maybe that's the magic bullet. I think we do things in our day-to-day that make each other laugh, and we bring it to the podcast and we talk about it. We don't overly think about our content. It has to be fresh. It has to be what's happening in our lives. Yes, I needed a heat pack. Yes, I decided to use an old sock and some rice. And you know what? It worked. So I'm going to share that with people. Of course.
I love it.
Then you've got to be careful that it doesn't catch fire in the microwave. A lot of people on Instagram wanted to point that out to me.
They'll come back to you. The house burnt down.
Isn't that
Thanks.
so funny? And I've got to say, Sarah, too, how are you after your fall? Because you were really courageous how you actually videoed.
I thought you were about to say, how are you after eating too many wasabi peas?
No.
Yeah.
So this poor, she's just walking and she's going, I had a stack.
Oh, tell me.
And she videoed it all.
I was going for a run, and Lise and I were laughing. I think I've realised at 45 that I just am that friend who falls over, and I am tall. I'm sort of 5'10" or so, and every year I have an annual stack. And I just had it. I had it recently. There's my scabby knee. If you need to see it, it's healing. Off the head, it's just healing. But I'm just a clumsy tall girl still, and I really thought I'd outgrow that at some point, but I don't think I will.
And you blew your jeans, didn't you?
Blew the
Lululemon
Lululemon leggings, and again, I've done that about
Lululemons.
3 times. It's between that and just taking
do you
hits
roll?
of wasabi
Do you
peas.
slam or do you roll?
No, I slammed on the bitumen. And then my husband, he was home, he just gave me the great advice of well, maybe you should try and be less clumsy. And,
Oh,
thanks.
that was great.
and I was like, you know
Great
what?
advice.
This is why marriages fail in their 40s, because that is useless.
But he's a country
advice.
boy, you know. like,
boy.
Get your hoops
But I
sorted.
love that you're saying your two daughters had the natural sort of like female empathy.
Yeah, they
going
did.
there.
They really did. They were like,
which
oh my
is-
God,
which is really
Mum,
sweet.
you know, do you need a Band-Aid? And they got the alcohol swabs out and what have you. And what that interested me was in the DMs, all the mothers of sons.
Yeah. Because they
The
play
girls
rugby,
gave me
that's
that level
why.
of attention. And even you said, like, you were like, I
Yeah.
would just not get that. But I mean, I suppose you're so used to the boys.
I mean, I said to Sarah, if someone's not bleeding in our house, that's when you pay attention, because I've got some pretty rough and tumble boys, and it's just, you know, just another day in the Carlaw household if one of them is bleeding. So that they wouldn't give me that special attention, because they'd just be like, join the club, you know, we're all here bleeding.
Sarah, the girls should have put the rice in the sock and sort of
I know, that's
that
what
in the
I
microwave for you.
I should have got them on the phone to Auntie Lise.
Exactly.
There you go.
Throw some
You live and
wasabis
learn.
for mum as well. And also I love some of your tips as well is with travel. And I mean, I'm impressed because I just don't really like to do it that way. But you actually have gone around Europe just with a carry-on bag. Is that correct? And your whole family did that as well, Lise?
Yeah, it was a few years ago now, but we had a big, exciting family trip to Europe. It was the first time we'd taken our boys over there, and it was a long-awaited trip. We did 5 weeks, and because a lot of our family members can be quite impatient and don't really like the fuss of lots of bags and lots of clothes, I decided to issue the family the challenge of, can we do this out of a backpack? So 7 kilos each.
Wow.
Carry on
Boys
only.
is easier, though.
Yeah, it is.
So it's easy to do in a European summer, which is
because I've got boys too. I get it.
Yeah, and they loved it because it meant that we could check in later to flights. We didn't have to wait around. We didn't have to wait at the carousels. We could just head off the plane and hit the road, and that was really helpful. At the time, the boys were maybe, I don't know, 9 and 13 or 9 and 14. So that it suited us to a T. So I would definitely, we try and travel like that now because, it works for our family. It's not for
Sarah,
everyone.
are you the same?
Absolutely
are you the same?
not. Absolutely
No,
not.
No, I was going to say.
Lise would always try and do carry on
Yeah.
whenever we travelled anyway. She'd be like, I'm just walking off that plane and getting straight into an Uber. And I'd be like, no, you're not. You got to wait for me at the carousel because I will have 3 options for every day. Who knows what will come. But you just like issuing yourself personal challenges like that. Like Lise does that. You know, one year she was like, I'm going to do the splits by the end of January. Another one was, I'm going to learn to deadlift.
Preferably not on a fence.
Yeah, she was like, I'm going to, what is it called? Dead hang off the rafters in the Queenslander. And she would put it on Instagram where she'd just be up holding onto rafters.
Doing it.
Wow.
So she has these kind of
obsession,
masochistic tendencies, and I think just going on to a carry-on challenge for 5 weeks in Europe. I mean,
also I'm not an overly girly girl, so that takes off a lot of. I don't have hair dryers, hair curlers, hairspray. I don't want any of it.
I get
that's why she travels with me. She's like, can I borrow your hair straightener? Because
right. I don't need it. Someone's going to have it.
We're the lipstick queens.
It's funny. Nicola, who flew with Qantas for 30 years, she always says in the studio, touch up before we touch down.
I've got my lipstick.
And I'm always like, oh my God, here she goes. Like that. I was just going to quickly say, I went on a 3-month honeymoon long time ago. We were married in Mykonos, and we had backpacks, and it was so funny because Dave had to carry my blow dry and my hair straightener, and he was always like this. There was a few other.
This is the 80s.
I'm cutting down. There was a few other things he carried too, but he's always like that, and I was always like, "Come on, keep up." And I was thinking, no, I could never do it.
What about your wedding dress? Because Di had the most incredible, glamorous, amazing wedding dress.
Yeah.
And tell the girls about with your wedding. How many people went?
I think it was 5 people because when we got married, I think the Australian dollar was like 50 cents, and it was
Big
in
family.
86. and it was Chernobyl had just happened.
Oh.
And I thought, bugger it, I'm going to Mykonos. I don't breathe in a bit of that lovely nuclear air. I just said to everyone, no one's coming. It's going to cost too much. And I had a girlfriend in London, and because both parents came over. But yeah, it was pretty wild.
Wow. And that's the year actually we met in 86 as well. So there you go. What are we now?
And you
so
saw
it's
a
40
postcard
years.
from me, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
On the fridge.
And then
It's so
we
cute.
met that year. So
Okay, let's talk dancing.
Yes.
It's my favourite thing to do in the whole world.
Yeah. Disco,
I dance
club,
everywhere.
and then at the end,
Banks,
and then I've got to say,
cafes.
I've got a confession to say when you tell us about the disco club.
Well, so Disco Club came off the back of Lise and I both just missing nights out dancing with girlfriends. And in fact, we'd actually never just had nights out dancing with girlfriends, because the only spaces you could go to do that were, you know, like wedding dance floors or birthday parties or nightclubs or pubs. And we weren't really interested in those kind of environments. We just wanted somewhere where we could go with our girlfriends, early start, early finish, be comfy, know the songs. And we were sort of having lots of parallel conversations with women, whether we were interviewing them or just in our everyday lives, who all felt the same. And so we just thought, right, look, follow our gut instinct. Let's just hire a function room at a bowls club in Brisbane and put it out there through our podcast audience and see what happens. And we had 80 women who showed up, and it was just so deliciously cringe and daggy and happy. And
we love daggy happy.
It just kept kind of steamrolling every time we do an event. And for the first year in Brisbane, they were just in RSL clubs and bowls clubs. They just kept growing, 800 women, you know. Then we moved into nightclubs and it was 1,000 women. And then we went interstate, which felt huge, because we always feel like women in Sydney and Melbourne and what have you are so much cooler and fancier than us laid back pussy gals. And it just
we love the Queensland girls. Gorgeous.
Absolutely.
It just kept growing and growing.
My sister.
Yeah, and that's it. And so now, in 3 years, we've gone from bowls clubs to 5,000 people at Hordern Pavilion, and selling out.
How fantastic.
If someone could have said, this is, the nature of mindset. Someone could have said, you only got 80 people, so maybe that's it. And that was a great night and it's over. But the beautiful thing I love about you two, and I might throw in Nicola, is inspiration, belief, manifestation, hence the microphone, and never giving up. It's like, one of you were talking about someone saying, it's time to give it a rest now, finish. No. That you grab hold and use that as the driving force. And you know what? Look at you both.
I know.
You never gave up.
And you're
were
so
let's
good.
Do it.
We're your cheerleaders. And so we got tickets and we actually we went to your one in Sydney. But I was going to say, I've got a confession, because everyone gets dressed up in their glitter and in their sequins and the whole thing. Well, we emceed for Coast Trek. And so everyone's in their hiking gear, sort of with the boots, the whole thing. Yeah. And it was going late. And so by the time I got there, and then I had two other girlfriends in their hiking gear, and I said, they said, we want to come too. So we got there at half time and we had the backpacks that had boots on.
Did you have a blow dry in it?
There. We were like the butch chickies. And it was so funny. It's like they're going, you've come to the wrong venue. We're going, no.
This is it.
Anyhow, so we went in, we weaved our way right to the front. And so it was hysterical because we were
those girls had done a 20K walk.
They had 20Ks.
Then
they did the walking, we did the talking, but I've got to congratulate you. It was so much fun. And
we're doing a little
we're doing a small one because we've had so many people go, we want to dance, and we've got a great
Sydney,
little venue.
just local.
And local ones. And so
I said to Nicola, if it's just me and a microphone, I'll be thrilled.
And already we've put it out and our tickets have gone really well.
All
but
our
it's
friends,
one of many things that we're kind of doing, but it's sort of something we loved it. And
thanks for all the inspiration, because it's my favourite thing to do.
And this one is more. She's more the dancing queen than me.
I sing and dance every single day
and she's
of
really
my
good.
life.
I'm the Gumby.
It's true.
I'm sort of like the toe tapper.
Yeah,
I'm the daggy
Melbourne girl.
Anyone who hasn't bought tickets, come along because I'm the daggy dancer. But I love that.
We love you two so much. And honestly, having this experience just to sit and chew the fat, girlfriends on girlfriends.
Girlfriends.
And forget about age. What is age? It's a freaking number. I just keep doing what you're doing.
I
You
know.
inspire us all.
We love you.
And I've got goosebumps as I'm saying that to you both.
Oh,
And
that's really nice.
yeah,
Thank
we do.
you.
We really
mean
do.
it from my
Decades.
heart.
And
Yeah.
any last minute, we're going to throw you there, but any last minute some tips you could give to our
Tips, I
you
love
know,
it.
I don't know, tips of anything with your friendship or business or anything that you've learnt together of what you've created since when you first met.
I think one of the things that has always held us in good stead was someone gave us the advice to set an intention. And we did it in 2016, and our intention is to earn a living connecting people through laughter while being ourselves. And what that has meant is it's been very easy for us to make decisions along the way and to keep going with the things that we're interested in pursuing, because if those three pillars are always met, then happy days for us.
And I would say just pay attention to the green lights in your life. And yes, we work hard, and yes, we have a lot of tenacity, but we also just go with momentum and energy. And when those things happen for us, when we lean in and pay attention to us, everything just happens. And I think that has possibly, or is one of our superpowers, is that we can feel it fizzle around us. Disco Club was just a simple idea, and we don't own women getting together and having a dance. You two are proof you're doing it locally. But we would love for people to come and experience Disco Club for what we've created it to be. We put a lot of thought into it, a lot of hard work, and everyone is welcome, whether you're dressed in hiking gear or sequins.
Yay.
We don't care. We don't care how old you are, how young you are. We have women who bring their 18-year-old daughters. We have
Women
cousins.
who bring their 80-year-old mothers.
We have
We've
it
got
all.
actually that's great.
I love when you just said
I love that.
you feel the fizzle, because there's a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, there's some people listening now and their lights are not shining, you know, they've lost, if not the drive, just that beautiful inner force. So just remember, guys, like these two, like us, always remember to shine your light. It's imperative.
Yeah, they got those green lights.
That fizzle, that was great.
And look out for that. It's a
Love
bit of a
that.
Matthew
Love it.
McConaughey sort
It
of thing,
is,
isn't
very
it? Which
much
we all
so.
love. He's pretty
God,
easy
he's
on
hot.
the eyes. Oh, no, look at us.
Cougars.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
So
Nothing wrong with
let's
that.
do you want to do the
I'm
first
going to
question?
start. Yeah, if you could share a back fence, I'm going to go with Lise. With anybody on planet Earth, who
That's
would it
easy.
be and why?
That's very easy for me. I would share a back fence with Jack Black.
I know exactly who you're talking
Why's
about.
I
that?
love him. He makes me laugh. I love how he is unapologetically silly and himself, and it doesn't matter how old he is, what he looks like, what movies he doesn't do.
True.
I think he brings joy and silliness to so many people, and there is nothing heartthrob or sexy or perfect about that man, and I'm obsessed with him. Obsessed.
that's
wow.
good. And
So
your
I
hubby's
would
not
share
jealous.
a back fence with him.
Jack Black and
Well, do you
wasabi
want to
peas.
ask? Do you
Obsessions.
want to ask the next one?
I want to know who Sarah
Okay.
would share a back
Yeah,
fence
me
with.
too.
I think I know.
So you go, Di.
Go
Who
for
do
it.
you reckon?
Oh,
it would be?
no,
Well, you're gonna ask.
Same question.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
you
yeah.
shoot it.
So who would you like to meet at the back fence?
Well, I'm interested. Lise reckons she knows who it is. Let me see if you know.
I want to know who it
Oh.
is.
I knew it.
Oh,
Maggie Defense.
yeah. I love her.
And
And now
I'd make her
her
come
cancer's
over.
moved on.
I'd make her come over and we'd watch
Oh.
Fast Forward and Full Frontal bloopers together and Kath and Kim bloopers, and I'd get her to take me
Yes.
through scene by scene, and then we'd just talk about everything. Yeah, Magda.
I
Magda's
love
the
that.
lady.
I love that.
Two comedians, don't you love
Yeah.
that?
So, okay, next
Okay.
question. Why we're with Sarah. What makes you happy?
Oh gosh, I mean,
Mm.
whenever I'm with Lise, I'm happy.
Aw.
I was going to say, throw your husband in there somewhere.
He's in the
Yeah, I mean, he's
country.
around.
No, he
He's
is.
in the
He's
farm.
She went like, what? He's around.
He's
Yeah.
around.
So
That's
cute.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I get that. Okay, I'm going
Lise.
to ask then, Lise, what makes you happy?
Oh God, I mean, now I have to say Sarah because it's
I was gonna
awkward if I
say,
don't.
yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
know.
There you go.
Really starting to black
diplomacy.
out there. I was
I was
like,
going to say you had to. I know. This one's
No,
like,
of course. But I think
thanks.
laughing
Apart from.
laughing with Sarah. Sarah, when Sarah is silly, is the greatest thing in the world. And I think I'm
it.
probably one of 3 people who gets to see the really silly side, and that will get me laughing till I can't breathe. But I would also say I love being in pajamas before the sun goes down. I love Sundays at home when everyone's at home together, which is getting
Regroup.
rarer and rarer, but I'm loving it. Yeah, I love cozy. Anything cozy. I'm a big fan.
I love cozy. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're certainly
Probably
cozy,
more chance of fires here
And
in
you know,
Sydney.
you've
I love
actually, well,
cozy.
you've made our day, and hopefully all our listeners. And if you haven't tuned into Lise and Sarah, well, you got to now. I think most of probably our listeners have, but you might be
It's been
getting
great
some,
having you over the back
It certainly
fence.
has, and so we're on YouTube. You can watch us. We like everyone to subscribe, to follow. It's growing. It's great, and we love the ratings. You know how important they are. We like people to put in the 5 stars, but I don't know if you ladies know, but Di's got her own rating system, and we have Lise and Sarah at our back fence. So out of 5 stars, how many do they get?
Okay, I'm going to add 40 and 60, which makes it's going to be 100 out of 5.
100 out of 5. You're breaking all records. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for listening. Write in also to us. We're saying, DM what you think of with friendship and what's important.
Yeah, love that.
It's really great. So
I love the dance.
Yeah,
love you both. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. We did it.
Thank
finally.
you. We did it. Yay. Oh, that's